All right, so now I want to look at configuring a pop-up for a layer. So there's two environments you can do this. You can do it either in Arc Pro or in ArcGIS Online. I generally prefer to do this in ArcGIS Pro. Generally, when you publish it, your pop-ups will move over also and be configured effectively the same. There are some situations where they might not work perfectly. Even if you do make a pop-up in ArcGIS Pro, if you go to ArcGIS Online, you can edit that pop-up further if you'd like. Okay, so let's look at the pop-ups so far. So I haven't done anything to this. So if we click on this, should get a pop-up. Okay, it came up on the other screen. So you can see here basically list this text as like a title, and then it just gives you all of the attributes, and that's the default. So you get all the attributes, and then you get back a title. The title is generally going to be the first string field in the table, which might not always make sense. But it sometimes could be something else. It actually looks like it's the map name is what happened or was used in this case. Okay, first off, if you don't want to have pop-ups, you can always disable them. So if you right-click on the layer, you can disable pop-ups. Now, if I try to click on this, let me zoom in here. If I try to click on one of these, it won't load a pop-up anymore because they're disabled. If I enable pop-ups, again, then I can click on them. And when a pop-up is enabled, then you can actually go in and configure it. So we want to go to configure pop-ups now and have a look at that. Okay, so that's opened up this configure pop-ups window or pane. So let's play around with this a bit. While we're working, I'm going to open up the attribute table because that'll help us a little bit with getting field names and whatnot. Okay, so first off, let's look at the title. Okay, so the title right now is just this map name column. So if you have text that's in curly brackets, that indicates that that is pulling an attribute. So it can be dynamic or change with each feature. If it's not wrapped in anything, like if it's not wrapped in curly brackets, then it's just plain text. So we could do something like summit, colon, and the map name is actually not the name of the summit. The summit name is actually this feature NA, which is feature name. So we're going to change this here. Now note you could type it in, or you can also grab it here from the list. So we'll do feature name from the list. And that doubled up the brackets. So let me get rid of that. Okay, so that's a little bit better. And yeah, that's okay. So let's go back. Now, if I click on this, it should say summit, colon, and then the name. So this is Smith Mountain in this case. All right, and then the next thing that it has here is the field, the fields. So if we click on this little pencil, that'll allow us to edit this. So we're going to get rid of that. Okay, so as you see here, it's basically just listing all the fields by default. So I'm going to turn it off, and let's think through what fields we might want to actually show. So we don't really need a feature ID. The name is already in the title, so that's not really necessary. We could do this elevation in feet, and we could do the elevation in, this would be, oh, it's also feet. We don't need to do that. And we can do lat and long, and then we can also do the, we'll do let's see, we're going to do the map name. Yeah, we'll do that. So that's the name of the topographic map that it's on. So let's say we just want to do those. Now, once we have those, we can configure it a bit. So this display label is what's actually going to show up as like the name of the field. So you generally want to make these cleaner. So we're going to do elevation in feet. All right, and we will do, let's see, we'll last do decimal places. I don't know how many it has now. Probably doesn't have any. Yeah, it's already rounded off. We'll add the thousand separator, and we'll add in a suffix here, and we'll just put in feet. And since I put feet there, oops. Oh, I guess I had to pick one. Never mind. There we go. Since we did feet in the suffix, we won't do it in the label. Okay. Kick that back. So let's just click and see what that did. So now we just got our couple different fields there. So we have elevation, See, we have a suffix, we have the comma separator, we have a nice clean name now. So let's go in and further edit this. So let's go to the topo map here, and we're just going to change this to which topo map it's on. So 1 to 24,000 scale topo map. Now let's check that out. So the topo map that it's on, and the latitude. So let's see if we can change this from a different type. I don't know if we have that. It's not really an angle, but that'll give us the degree sign, I believe. And let's round this down to 2 decimal places. And we won't need 1,000 separators for this because those numbers are not that big. All right, let's see what that does. All right, so there we have it rounded off with the degree symbol. And let's see here. And then let's change the display name to latitude. And we basically want to do the same thing for longitude. So again, we'll change the name here to longitude, change it to angle, and 2 decimal places, and that should do it. All right, so now we should have pretty clean name, elevation, lat, long, so on and so forth. All right, I think that basically did it. Now, let's see if there's anything else we might want to add. So first off, I'm going to add in here, let's just add in an image. Now, there's a couple ways you can get an image. So if you want, you could reference a attribute column that has like a URL or path to an image, so it can change. But we don't really have that here, right? So I'm just gonna, for the heck of it, add in like the West Virginia logo or something. Well, these are from USGS maps, so let's add in the USGS. Well, actually, let's do that because I don't know. Probably shouldn't do that since that's not something I have. So I'm going to go to, whoops, that's not what I wanted. Let's go to the Wikipedia page for West Virginia here, and we'll grab our state seal, and we'll do copy image address. Now, I really wouldn't do this. I mean, this isn't really useful in this case. I'm just wanting to show you how to do something, or how to add an image. And then for the hyperlink there, this is a link to the, if you click on the image, it'll take you to, and we'll just have it take you to the West Virginia Wikipedia page for now. This is refreshed if you have an image that changed, so that might be helpful. The caption, we'll just call West Virginia, we'll do West Virginia State Seal. I think that's with an S. And the title will be State Seal. And we won't have it refreshed, it's not really going to change. All right, that should do that. So now, if we click on this, we should have the West Virginia State Seal there with our text and whatnot. If we click on it, it opens up the web browser and takes us to the Wikipedia page for West Virginia. All right, so I think that's a decently formatted pop-up now. Obviously, there are other types of features that you can add. So a chart allows you to chart something, you know, like pie chart, bar charts, whatever. I don't know if there's anything here that we really need. We could just maybe do the elevation. This is only really going to be one thing, so it doesn't really matter. But we call this elevation chart. All right, we don't need to normalize it or anything. It's probably fine. So now if we click on this, it should have a little chart that pops up that has the elevation in it. I don't think that that's really helpful in this case because you're not really comparing it to anything. So I'm just going to get rid of that. I just wanted to show you that you could add in charts. So I just got rid of that object. Now if I click on one of these, it won't be there anymore. And carousels basically allow you to cycle through things, so you can have different objects that you cycle through, like images and whatnot. images and charts. Oops, I did not want to get rid of, well, actually I did want to get rid of that. So actually I feel like that's everything that we need. Cool. All right, so I'm going to do a save here. Oh, sorry. Do I have two of these open? Yeah, I do. Actually, had two of those open for some reason. And then that's why it wasn't letting me save. Should let me save now. No, it doesn't matter for this. It got weird because I had two things open. All right, let's say now that since we have configured this pop-up, we want to save this out to ArcGIS Online. So to do that, again, I would just go to Share, and I'm going to go to Web Layer. You might remember that we had already published this Summits layer, but we hadn't configured the pop-up. So one thing we could do, instead of saving the layer again, is we could do Override Web Layer. And this is going to ask us what layer we want to overwrite. So I want to overwrite this Summits layer that we did with Arc Pro already. And this is basically warning us that we're replacing something. All right, so that's that. I think that's good. We don't really need to do anything. Let's do an analyze. We need to do this update here of IDs, and that should be, note here says layer pop-up definition includes number formats that are, so these numeric field formatting that we did won't carry over. I find that frustrating. I hope that eventually they fix that, and we'll see what that looks like here once it publishes. All right, let's see. Yep, still thinking. Give it a second. All right, that did it. So now we can go into our map. Again, I'm going to refresh this. Oh, cancel. I'm going to save my map here. Save. And I actually think this should have auto-updated since it was referencing that. Oh, actually, this is referencing a different. It maybe won't actually. Let's just do. Well, actually, let's just go into the content here, and back into the map. That may update that layer for us. Okay, there it did. Now, a couple things to note here. We lost our degree symbols, and that's because those didn't carry over, which is kind of a bummer. But they just don't. But it did keep a lot of our other changes. So we basically formatted the pop-up, wrote over the layer that already existed that didn't have a formatted pop-up, and then that automatically got added into our map once it refreshed. Note that you can do additional editing if you want. So if you're clicked on a layer and you go into the pop-ups, then you can further edit the pop-up here if you'd like. So the attributes, the title, any content, you can add, remove content. You can even turn the pop-up off. Again, I prefer doing my editing in Arc Pro. Again, some things don't all carry over. I just like it better, but there's a lot of functionality here inside of Arc Online also.